Hi and welcome to another installment of Math Basics, Mr. Besh. Today what we're going to do is use our prior knowledge and skills to solve a system of equations. Now, when I say prior knowledge and skill, it requires us heavily of what we did in our equation unit many months ago. To describe to you what a system of equation is, we just finished our graphing unit. And one of the things we had to do was take an equation of a line, create a function table, and then plot your points on your coordinate plane, so that you could visually display what your line looked like, what your equation looked like as a graph. And what happens is sometimes two lines, in fact, intersect. And the point that they meet in is referred to in mathematics as a solution. Now, this is easy to find when we have a coordinate plane, because we could take our two lines, identify where they cross on our graph paper, and match them up to find that very coordinate, or that ordered pair of where they cross. This example here, my two lines cross at -1, 2. But not all the time do you have your graph. Sometimes you can require a little bit of algebra to get the job done. For instance, one of my methods that I have is the substitution method. And with the substitution method, I'm going to have two equations of a line. And my job is to take these two equations and take the simplified equation that is solved for y and substitute the value of y, which is 3x, into the equation that is 2x plus y equals 20. When I do this, I end up getting 2x plus 3x is equal to 20. Note, I substituted the 3x in for y because y equals 3x. Then with a little simplification here, 2x plus 3x makes 5x, so 5x is equal to 20, and last but not least, x is equal to 4. Now what I do is, since I know x is equal to 4, I can take either one of my two equations that I started with, put 4 in for x, and then find out what y has to be to solve this. And I chose the first equation, so then y is equal to 3 times 4, which is 12. And last but not least, my system of equation, my solution is going to be 4, 12. Notice that I wrote this as an ordered pair, and that's what I need to do here. All right? So what we're going to be doing is we're taking two equations of lines, and we're going to use a variety of methods to identify what the ordered pair solution is going to be. Now notice, my answer here, 4, 12. In either one of these two equations, if I were to put 4 in for x and 12 in for y, it would satisfy each of these. My second example is the combination method. The combination method looks this way. Now I have two equations of a line. Sometimes it's as easy as taking these two equations and adding them together. My goal, my objective, is to take the two equations, add them together, and either my x's cancel out or my y's cancel out. Remember, in this equation, notice that the y values are opposites. Plus y minus y. Remember what I could simply do. I could take the number 1 and put it in front of any time I have a letter, just like this. So now when I'm doing my math, I'm going to take my first equation, combine this through addition with my second equation, and as a result, I'm going to get 2x plus 1x, which makes 3x. Then a plus 1 and a minus 1 combine together to make 0. And then 4 plus 2 combine together to make 6. So now I can clearly see that my x value is equal to 2. Now, what I do next is I take my x value, which is 2, and I could substitute it back into the original equation that I had so that I can identify what y is. And now when I substitute that back in, 2 times 2 is going to make 4, plus y equals 4, and last but not least, I identify that my y value comes out to be 0. And this is solving my system of equations through the method of the combination method. Sometimes some texts refer to this as adding or subtracting method, but this is a shortcut or a trick that you need to do. Sometimes this is the best method. Remember, sometimes substitution, the last method I did, was the best method. And then other times, you are required to use a method referred to as the multiplication/combination method. This one, you're going to get two equations. They're going to be opposing. You're going to look at them and be like, oh, I don't know what to do. The trick is this. You need to pick x's or y's. What do you want to see get rid of? It's that simple. Do you want to get rid of the x's, or do you want to get rid of the y's? And once you choose what you want to get rid of, you need to think of the least common multiple. What is a common multiple that 8 and 6 share or 7 and 5 share so that you can make them those terms and that they can cancel out. Our goal is to create 2 more equations so that I can add them together and either the x's cancel out or the y's cancel out. And let me demonstrate. I'll get rid of x's. I take a look at the terms in front of the x's and I have 8 and 6. The least common multiple of 8 and 6 is 24. So now what I want to do is I want to find out what do I multiply 8x by to make 24x, which is 3. So then what I do is I take all 3 elements in the first equation, 8x, negative 7y, and negative 3, and I multiply them all by 3. So then I get 24x, negative 21y, and last but not least, negative 9. Now I need to do the same thing with the second equation. I need to make the bottom 24, but the opposite of 24x. The opposite of 24x is negative 24x. So now I have to multiply everything here by negative 4. And when I do that, 6x times negative 4 is negative 24x. Negative 5y times negative 4 is positive 20y. And last but not least, a negative 1 times a negative 4 is a positive 4. Once I have these 2 new equations, all I have to do is take the top equation and add it to the bottom equation. And when I do that, the 24x's cancel each other out. Negative 21y plus a 20y gives me negative 1y. And negative 9 plus a positive 4 gives me negative 5. So when I solve this for y, the y value is positive 5. And once I know the y value is positive 5, I can then take this value and substitute it in, as a matter of fact, to any one of my 4 equations. I have 4 equations that I can use. I chose to use the first one. So then I get an 8x. A negative 7 times a positive 5 gives me that minus 35. And then that equals a negative 3. And then I need to figure out what x is to make that true. And when I solve it, I find out that x is 4. Remember, add 35 to both sides of the equation, divide both sides by 8, and then the x value comes out to be 4. And last but not least, I get my ordered pair solution, which is 4, 5. This is how you solve a system of equations. And like I said in the beginning, you got to rely on your previous equation skills. And then other than that, it's just nothing but basic fundamental math. I hope you found this section both helpful and informative.